Hello, my name is Anthony. Welcome back to another Dwarven Horde TCG video. Today, we are going to be discussing priority. What is it? How does it work? What are the rules? And let's dissect what is priority in Magic the Gathering. Have you ever cast a spell and wondered why your opponent gets the chance to respond before it's resolved? Or maybe you heard players talk about holding priority and had no idea what they really meant. Today we're going to break down one of the most important concepts of Magic the Gathering, which is priority. Today we're going to cover what priority is, who gets priority first, how active player and non-active players interact, and we'll reference the official Magic comprehensive rulings so you can see exactly where these mechanics come from. So the first topic, what is priority? Priority is the game's way of determining who can take actions at a given moment. According to the comprehensive rule of 117.1a, a player may cast instant spells anytime they have priority. The same section explains that players can also activate abilities when they have priority. Simply put, if you have priority, you have permission to do something. If you don't have priority, you must wait until the game gives it to you. Active player versus non-active player. Before we can understand priority, we need to understand two important terms. The active player is the player whose turn it currently is. The non-active player is every other player. This concept appears throughout the rules and is often shortened to APNAP, which stands for active player, non-active player. Simple. This order determines who gets priority first and how many effects are put onto the stack. Who gets priority first? The official rule is found in Comprehensive Rule of 117.3a. The active player receives priority at the beginning of most steps and phases. After, any turn-based actions are dealt with and abilities that trigger at the beginning of the phase or steps are put onto the stack. That's a mouthful, so I'm going to simplify it for you, make it easier. So most of the time, the active player gets priority first. Then, once they pass priority, the non-active player gets a chance to act. Let's use an example. Let's say I cast the spell Lightning Bolt, and it's my turn. I cast Lightning Bolt targeting my opponent. Lightning Bolt goes onto the stack. Now what happens? According to Rule 117.3c, if a player has priority when they cast a spell, activate an ability, or take a special action, that player receives priority afterwards. This means that after casting Lightning Bolt, I get priority again. Most players immediately pass priority. Once I pass, my opponents get priority. If my opponent also passes, we apply Rule 117.4. If all players pass in succession while the stack is empty, the phase or step ends. If all players pass in succession while the stack is not empty, the object on top of the stack resolves. Because a lightning bolt is on the stack, it resolves and 3 damage. But what does that actually mean? We'll just simplify it. If I cast lightning bolt and the next player passes priority because they have no response, then the next player gets a chance to do so as well, and so on and so on. At any moment, if any of these players have a response, they will get priority. If no players have a response, then the priority comes back to the active player and your lightning bolt will resolve, taking effect. Now, when it comes to responding to a spell, now let's add the spell counterspell. I cast lightning bolt. I receive priority and pass. My opponent now has priority and casts counterspell, targeting the lightning bolt. According to Rules 117.3c, because of my opponents cast the spell, they receive priority again. They pass. Priority returns to me. I now have a chance to respond. If I pass, counterspell resolves. Lightning bolt then gets countered. Players then receive priority again before anything else happens. Now, you've probably heard this term before, especially if you play in the Commander format, holding priority. But what does it mean to hold priority? So here's a concept that confuses a lot of players. Because of Rule 117.3c gives priority back to the player who just cast the spell, you don't actually pass priority when you cast something. You can actually keep acting. For example, I cast Lightning Bolt. Instead of passing priority, I cast Reverberate, targeting my own bolt. Both spells are now on the stack before my opponents get a chance to respond. This is commonly called holding priority. It's not a special action or a keyword, it's simply a result of the Rule 117.3c. Priority and the stack are inseparable. Whenever a spell or an ability is added to the stack, players receive priority. When all players pass, the top objective resolves. Then players receive priority again. This process continues until the stack is empty. The official support for this process comes from Rule 117.3c and Rule 117.4. Priority during combat isn't one giant action, it's many small actions broken up into tiny actions, tiny priorities. So players can receive priority multiple times. For example, at the beginning of the combat step, declare the attackers, declaring blockers, combat damage, end of combat damage, or end of the combat step. After that, the game performs the required turn based action for each step. Players receive priority. This is why players can cast removal spells after attackers are declared, or cast combat tricks after blockers are declared. AP, NAP, and triggered abilities. Priority isn't the only thing affected by active and non active players. Triggered abilities are also placed onto the stack of the AP and AP order. According to Rule 603.3b, if multiple abilities have triggered since the last time a player received priorities, abilities controlled by the active player are put onto the stack first, then those controlled by non active players. This means the active player's triggers go onto the stack first. Then, the non active player's triggers are placed on top. Since the stack resolves from top to bottom, non active players' triggers usually resolve first. So, what does this mean in simple terms? If you were the active player, your triggered abilities will go first. Your opponent's triggered abilities or active abilities will go on the stack last. The way Magic the Gathering happens is the last thing on the stack resolves first. This is why there are plays where people could do the combat tricks and the tap effects. Like if you are getting attacked for or after blockers are declared, you decided to tap your Krenko mob boss to make a swarm of goblins to have a massive waves of blockers. This is something that you could do. The most important rule to remember, if you remember anything else from this video, is that in Rule 117.4, if all players pass in succession while the stack contains an object, that object resolves. This single rule explains why opponents can respond to your spells. It explains why combat tricks work. It explains why counterspell works. And it explains why priority is one of the most important concepts in Magic. So let's run a recap of everything that we've discussed so far. Priority is a permission to act. The active player gets priority first. After a player casts a spell, they receive priority again under Rule 117.3c. When all players pass in succession, Rule 117.4 tells us that the top object on the stack resolves. And whenever you hear AP, NAP, remember active player, non active player. That's the foundation of priority in Magic the Gathering. So if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what magic rule you'd like me to explain next. Whether it layers, state-based actions, the stack itself, combat timing, more than happy to cover it for you guys. Also, if you want to reference any of these rules, you will want to look up, the Magic the Gathering comprehensive rules. 117.a, 117.3a, 117.3c, 117.4, and Rule 603.b. So I want to thank you guys again for tuning in. I hope you found this video enjoyable. If it helped, drop a comment below. Let me know what you like about it. I have a video about Reaper King and how the stack versus non-player versus active player resolves. If you want to find that, it should be somewhere around here. I'll post it up. Anyway, thank you for your time. Until next time, stay safe, stay golden, and hug your loved ones. We out of here. Peace. Oh, and hey, and before you go, let me remind you that we do have our store page up on Amazon with our merchandise. If you would like to support the channel, you could type in bit.ly/shop the horde to pick up some Dwarven Horde TCG merchandise. As you see, we have clothing, we have tote bags, we have water bottles, and a couple of other things to help support the channel. So if you like something, go ahead and grab it, and your support is greatly appreciated. Until next time.